important part of election, and that is the election campaign. Children, a question can be asked about writing a short note on election campaign. This question can be asked. So what happened during election campaign? In India, election campaign is carried out for 2 weeks between the announcement of election and the date of polling. Okay, around about 15 days this campaigning goes on. Okay, and this campaign, it stops 2 days before the actual date of polling. Okay, so during this period when this campaigning goes on, every candidate, they contact their voters. Okay, because remember I told you so many promises they make with these voters just to convince them, just to tell them that we are the best, should give our vote to us only. Okay, and during this election campaign, election meetings are organized by political leaders, political parties, they mobilize their supporters. So with these meetings and with these rallies, they mobilize their supporters. And even during these days, radio, television, newspapers, they are full of election related stories and debates. And after looking at these, information which is there on radio, television and news channels, these debates, we can make a right choice that whom should we choose for this election. Okay, and during the election campaign, the political parties, they try to focus public attention on some big issues, that is the promises. Okay, and you know that children, these promises are actually mentioned in a pamphlet, a document called Election Manifesto. Election Manifesto is a document, is a pamphlet issued by political party before political party during this campaign. Under this, they write some of the promises, the big issues that the party will take up when they'll come to power. Okay, now in our elections in the past, there were some of the very famous slogans being used by different political parties in different elections. Again, a very important question. Examiner can ask question like, name the important symbol used by different parties. Okay, so we'll just discuss some of the very famous symbols being used by different parties. For example, number 1, Congress party led by Indira Gandhi gave the slogan of Garibi Hatao in the Lok Sabha election of 1971. This was the very famous slogan of Congress party of, in which they have used in the election of 1971. The party promised to reorient all the policies of the government to remove poverty from the country. Okay, this is one such slogan. Another slogan being used by Janata Party in the Lok Sabha election held in 1976, and that was Save Democracy. Why this slogan? This slogan, actually party promised to undo the excesses committed during the emergency. Remember, emergency 1975. Congress, Indira Gandhi resigned from the post of Prime Minister and the government collapsed, and in that situation there was emergency in the country. Okay, so after that emergency, when elections were held, Janata Party has given this slogan because the party promised to undo the excesses committed during emergency and restore civil liberties, civil rights, because during emergency people have no right to use their liberties, their freedoms. Okay, another very famous slogan being used by the left front in West Bengal assembly election held in 1977, and that slogan was land to the tiller. It means the farmer who actually till the soil, actually cultivate the soil, should be the owner of the land, but not the landlord who is not doing anything on the land. Okay, another important slogan being given by the Telugu Desam party in Andhra Pradesh in the assembly election of 1983, that slogan was used by N.T. Rama Rao, the leader of Telugu Desam Party. Their slogan was, protect the self-respect of the Telugus. Telugus who are living in Andhra Pradesh, to protect their self-respect, and this was the very major slogan, important slogan being given by N.T. Rama Rao in the Andhra Pradesh Assembly election in 1983. So these are some of the very famous slogans being used by different political parties in different elections. Okay, and now again a very important matter of concern is to how to regulate election campaigning. Yes, see, campaigning can be dangerous. Candidates might use some unfair means. So to stop that, to avoid that, how election campaign can be regulated? Election law regulate the campaign. Election Commission, they make laws to regulate the election campaigns. Now what they do under this? It may prove dangerous if political parties and candidates are allowed to conduct their election campaign the way they want. If there will be no check on the candidates and the parties in the election campaigning, then they will do whatever they want. They can do any unfair means in the election, but ours is a democratic country and we do not want such kind of unfairness being happened in the elections. So it is essential to regulate campaigns to ensure that every political party and candidate, they gets a fair and equal chance to compete. Okay, so according to our election law, no party or candidate can, what they cannot do, they cannot bribe or threaten voters. Yes, they cannot appeal in the name of caste or religion. They can't, they cannot get vote. They cannot tell the voters that I am from this caste and this religion, so you should also give me your vote because you also belong to the same caste and religion. No, they cannot appeal the voters in the name of caste or religion. They cannot use government resources for election campaign. Yes, and even they cannot spend more than 70 lakh in a constituency for the Lok Sabha or 28 lakh in a constituency in an assembly election. There is a limit for limit on this use of resources for Lok Sabha and for assembly election. And for that, before the election Commission announces a code of conduct. What is that code of conduct? Code of conduct is actually a norm and guideline to be followed by political parties and candidates during the election time. And according to it, no party or candidate can use any place of worship for election propaganda. They cannot organize their meeting in any temple or any place of worship, and even they cannot use government official like aircraft or even the government officials for election. And once elections are announced, very important, once elections are announced, ministers, they shall not lay foundation stone of any project. It means they cannot start any new project. The moment elections are being announced by the election commission, they cannot take any big policy decision or make any promises to provide public facilities. Okay, so they cannot do all these things. This is nothing but the code of conduct.
Now, subscribe to Bright Tutee course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Tutee app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Tutee courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Tutee follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutee and avail your courses at affordable prices.